This is K-Rock with the MARR. We Rock Show. This weekend, we caught up with our friend Cyrenic out at Hard Times Cafe in Hagerstown, Maryland, one of our favorite places to go see live shows. Started off by asking Brian to give us his reaction to the Frederick and Hagerstown music scene out in Western Maryland.
As far as the Frederick scene, I'm not sure there's that great of a local rock scene, but we love being able to go out and we even play acoustic on the streets, and the people there are so receptive to new music. And we did our CD release show there last year, and that was one of our best shows. We haven't had much luck finding other bands to kind of play with there and connect with, but Hagerstown has been like the next best thing. And they've been getting some great shows out here, and John's been really good to us. Yep. And we've been playing with a lot of great national bands, and that's where I think we fit best as far as making new fans. We're not a band that is going to play every weekend, or tour as much as we'd like to, but so we try and choose our shows wisely and where we can make the most fans. And anything you guys want to add to that?
Well, yeah, just in addition to John being really good to us, they do have a built-in, I think, circle of fans that will make the trek out here to see bands play, and we've been fortunate to be put on the bills with some really big national headliners and to share the stage with them and to get exposed to a lot of their fans. So that's been kind of fun seeing folks come from as far away as Southern Maryland all the way up to the edges of Western Maryland to do a show.
Or even Minnesota. We have fans that flew in from Minnesota for this show. So.
Yeah, and that's amazing. We didn't come quite that far, but you're absolutely right. We travel about 2 hours to get here, and we love coming out here for the scene out here. So, hey, give us an update. Like that, you've got new music. First of all, you guys always have new music coming out. Brian and I were talking off, a little earlier about there's an album every year. So, give us a little bit of a heads up on what's coming out with the new album. You wrote, I quoted it here. Get ready for some headbanging and goosebumps. So, talk about it.
Don't quote me on that, but
I already did.
No, the new album. I think we're probably going to put 13 songs on it, which is kind of like almost our downfall. For us, it's good. We love putting out new music, but we kind of almost overdo it with trying to pack the albums. But
it's always hard to pick.
There's so many songs we would like to have the attention it deserves, but before we can do that, we're already writing the next album. So this album, really, there's a lot heavier stuff. I know it's cliche, but there's a lot heavier stuff, but there's probably about 4 songs that are acoustic or very close to being acoustic also. And I know that's, live we want to play more of the heavier stuff, but I know our wheelhouse is kind of the softer ballad stuff also. We kind of have 2 opposite ends of the spectrum for our music, and a lot of the hardcore fans that don't get to see us all the time and live around the world, that's some of their favorite songs. So we try to play to the audience both ways.
You kind of hit on several of the questions I had. I never do this. I lay the questions out in front of you guys. But so you hit on a couple of them that I wanted to ask you. One was about the number of songs you put on your CDs, because a lot of bands don't do that. I actually respect you guys for that, because if you got the songs, let us hear them. Don't hold them back for 7 years until you're not a band anymore.
Actually, this is probably the first album I've ever written a song where I haven't put it on an album. Every song I've ever written for music and everything has been on an album, and we're pretty fortunate that we record ourselves, so we can afford to do that. I know a lot of bands have to spend a lot of money, and
it's very expensive, so if we can do it ourselves, we can record as much as
and I've never been an EP guy where if I have a favorite band and they put out an EP, it's kind of a disappointment for me, honestly. I like to listen still to full albums, and I know sometimes a lot of the songs that we think are good aren't going to get the attention that the full attention of people that are listening, but we have enough diehard fans that are going to listen to the full thing, and they appreciate it.
So you mentioned, as I wrote this question down, about the idea of your band going back and forth stylistically between heavy stuff and mellow stuff in each song that I hear. So like when you guys listen to music, do you listen to mellow stuff or heavy stuff, or do you try to find a band like you that like jumps back and forth?
I think it's a pretty good myriad of stuff that you're getting, and I think our previous album probably demonstrated that more than I think any of the other ones. There was a little bit different style of stuff. There was some more progressive style stuff in there. There was some heavier stuff. There was definitely the ballads and the lighter stuff. But I think you get, hopefully in what we put out in the music, a pretty good representation of the kind of music that we like to listen to as fans ourselves, and the sort of things that I think we would hopefully think our fans would like to hear us play for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot. Now that you mention it, like there's a lot of times I'll be into a really, a heavier band and everything, and they'll put one soft song on the album, and that'll end up being my favorite song, even though I like the heavy stuff. I think a lot of bands do that. I know, like, I mean, it's not really a soft song, but of Mice and Men, like their song.
Love those guys, yeah.
What's the one with the falsetto over?
Another You.
Another You. Like that's, stuff like that stands out among the album, even though it's a softer song. Well, it gets heavy, but it's a softer song. But I think a lot of bands only put one song on there, and I think a lot of people wish they would put more of that kind of stuff on there. And, I think that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, so going back to 2013, like I remember I might have even been at that release show. The song Lullaby came out. Did you have any idea that being one of the mellower tunes on that album was going to do what it did?
Well, that song was on our second album that I had done by myself, and a lot of people would always love that song, so I knew I wanted to redo it for that album. So, I'm not surprised. I think it's a good song. But, yeah.
So a tune I've been listening to is The Killer to Save Us All. I always like that tune. And tell me a little bit about the story behind that tune lyrically. I know sometimes bands don't like to reveal it. They say figure it out yourself. But I always like to ask, what's the story behind that tune?
It's just kind of how a lot of times you got to go through the bad to get to the good. You got to, a lot of times you'll experience something that you think is like catastrophic, but it actually turns out for the best, like possibly losing a job or something like that, where at the time you lose the job, it might look devastating, but then something better comes along, and you can't imagine that it turns out any other way.
A blessing in disguise.
Same thing with even like a girlfriend or something. We have a breakup and you think it's the end of the world, but then you realize you met the person you're supposed to be with,
So I was watching today as I was getting ready for this, the video to The Whites of Your Lies. Are there any plans for a video for the upcoming album?
We always toy with video ideas. It's never kind of, we haven't really found the right people to work with. Yeah, we've toyed with some ideas, and then usually by the time it comes around, we're on to the next album. So.
We could just film this right now and just put some music over it. It might be the worst video ever.
On the following album, so.
And that's so true for you guys. So, on some of your albums, there I've found acoustic tracks and found acoustic stuff on your music page. Can we expect some acoustic tracks on the new one?
Yes. Yeah, there's I think at least four almost acoustic or just acoustic songs on the new album, and I'm sure after this we'll probably end up doing acoustic versions of songs made from the last 3 albums that we haven't done yet.
It's tough. A lot of the songs are written on acoustic guitars, so it's toying with leaving them acoustic or going heavy with them.
Yeah, a lot of them were like, do we keep it acoustic or make it heavy? Like that's actually how the song Metaphor. It actually started as just an acoustic song, and then we decided to make it a full band version because we knew that was going to be a big song for us, especially playing live. and we like both versions, so we ended up putting an angel and a devil version. So the acoustic version is actually the original one that was meant to be on the album, but we ended up doing the full band version.
So, everything we thought was going on with you guys was all about recording the new album, and then you jumped out and did a show tonight. What had you do this show? Was it just that was it in your backyard, or?
No, we always look for bands that are similar to us. And I think, Shallow Side and Blame Shift are a good fit for us. So we always get tempted to jump back onto the stage and at least keep it fresh. And we love it out there, so it's nice to just take a break from the recording for a little bit. And it lets us kind of get back into it with fresh eyes, fresh ears.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on you guys. There's new music coming out real soon. There's always, I say that Cyrenic, there's always new music coming out. So one of the things I love about you guys. So Cyrenic, guys, thanks for being here on the Marmy Rock Show. They're from Frederick, Maryland. Keep your eyes out for brand new music for them real soon. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.